I never wanted to go. Clara insisted. Said appearances mattered. Said we needed to show support. Said her brother would notice if we missed it. What she meant was her family would notice, and they already hated me enough. So I stood there, stiff in a suit that didn't feel like mine, staring into the bedroom mirror, asking myself why I was still married to someone who treated me like a guest in her life. You're not even trying, she snapped from the closet, struggling to zip her dress. I walked over, zipped it for her, didn't speak. That silence between us had become a third person in the room. We drove in silence too. Her lips painted blood red, her phone lighting up every few seconds with some vapid cousin's text, laughing to herself like I didn't exist. My grip on the steering wheel tightened every mile closer to the estate. Her parents' mansion sat like a throne on a hill, surrounded by spotlit trees and imported flowers. Cars lined the driveway. Bentleys, Jaguars, things I couldn't afford and didn't care to pretend I could. Valets wore gloves. Guests wore masks of sophistication. I wore the kind of discomfort that clung to your spine. Inside, the smell hit me first, rosewater and superiority. A string quartet played something classical, probably something French. Everyone smiled like their teeth cost more than my car. Clara floated into the crowd like she belonged there. I followed like a misplaced piece of furniture. Elijah, her father's voice boomed as he saw me. My name's Ethan, I corrected. Right, of course. Ethan. The writer. I'm in marketing. Still chasing dreams, I suppose. He muttered and turned away, already halfway into a conversation with a man who looked like he'd swallowed an entire investment firm. I grabbed a glass of something golden bitter. I drank fast. Every conversation I passed was a resume in disguise. Promotions. Real estate. Board seats. Bonuses. Success stories that sounded more like warnings. These people didn't talk, they performed. No one asked me a question. No one noticed my existence, until they did. 20 minutes into my second drink, Clara's cousin Brielle cornered me near the hors d'oeuvre. She was tall, thin, and always wore clothes that looked like they whispered about you behind your back. So, still doing your little ads? She asked, plucking a shrimp from a tray without looking at me. Yeah. Just finished a campaign for a startup. Won an award, actually. That's cute. She walked off. I stared after her, resisting the urge to throw the shrimp at her spine. Then I saw her. Elena. Damon's wife. Wearing danger wrapped in silk. Her skin shimmered in the low light, bronze-kissed by sunset. Her dress hugged her like it had secrets. Black, backless, her silhouette an offense to God and modesty. Her hair fell in waves that screamed untouchable. But her eyes said something else. They locked onto mine from across the room and didn't flinch. Elena, I said when she glided up to me. Ethan. She sipped her wine slowly, lips stained like the inside of a crime scene. You look like you'd rather be drowning. I smiled without teeth. I've been worse places. She leaned in, her voice low. But rarely more alone. I swallowed. She wasn't wrong. The last time someone looked at me the way Elena did, Clara still loved me. Or at least, still pretended to. Now, I couldn't remember the last time we'd kissed without a reason. Couldn't remember the last time I felt like a man in my own marriage. Elena's hand brushed mine. Accidentally, maybe. Or not. You know, she said, for a disgrace you clean up well. That word. Disgrace. I'd heard it more than once from her family's mouth. Whispered at holidays. Laughed about behind too many dollar whiskeys. They didn't say it to me. But they didn't need to. Elena said it like it was a compliment. You've been drinking, I said. I've been watching, she corrected. I should have walked away. I should have remembered the vows, the ring, the years. But I didn't. I followed her eyes, and then her steps, out to the terrace when no one noticed. Out there, moonlight spilled over her shoulders like a secret. The garden was quiet, full of expensive roses no one touched. She stood beside them and turned. I didn't speak. She didn't move. I kissed her. I don't know who moved first, but our mouths collided like two storms meeting over dry land. Her lips were soft, but the way she kissed me? Starve. She clutched the lapels of my jacket, pulled me closer, breathed into my mouth like it was oxygen. The taste of her was wine, lust, and something cruel. When we finally broke apart, breathless, hearts punching inside our chests, she stepped back. "This never happened," she said. We both knew it wasn't the last time. We walked back in just as Damon stood up to speak. He raised his glass. "To my beautiful wife, Elena. To my brilliant sister, Clara. And to our father, who built everything we stand on." Cheers erupted. I didn't drink. Clara's father looked directly at me. "I want to toast something else," he said. "To character. To honor. To men who represent their families with dignity and achievement." I felt every word crawl down my spine. He didn't say my name. But he didn't have to. Laughter followed. Polite. Controlled. I stood there like furniture again. I smiled. Because 20 minutes later, everything would be different. And the man they worshipped would be the one left in disgrace. Damon liked to pretend he'd earned everything. He walked with shoulders back, chin high, like success came from purity of soul. But I knew him before the suits, before the slicked back hair, before the speeches with practiced pauses. I remembered him stealing cash from Clara's purse when he was 19 and blaming the maid. I remembered the frat house scandals swept under rugs woven with his father's influence. Damon's entire life was a curated lie, and tonight, it was dressed in navy blue and polished shoes. Clara glided back toward me, wine glass half empty, eyes sharper than her smile. "Try not to look so miserable. I'll try harder when they stop treating me like the family stray." "You're paranoid," she whispered, scanning the room like a security camera. "Just behave. We're almost done." I clenched my jaw. "Done? With the party," she said too quickly, eyes darting. "Don't start." She walked off, leaving behind the faint scent of expensive perfume and cold disinterest. I was left alone again. So I drifted, through crystal chandeliers, laughter that felt rehearsed, rooms too wide for comfort. I found myself back near the terrace doors. That kiss still echoed in my mouth, warm and wrong and unforgettable. "Elena," I said when she reappeared beside me, barely whispering it. She didn't look at me. Just stood there, eyes fixed on the horizon, where the hills fell into darkness. "I shouldn't have done that," she said. I waited. Silence pressed between us. "But I wanted to." I turned to her. "Why?" She turned too, finally. Her eyes weren't soft anymore. They burned. "Because you don't belong here either." She said it like confession, like prophecy. Before I could answer, a voice interrupted us. Damon, laughing with two executives near the bar. Elena's body tensed as her husband's laughter echoed across the hall. He hadn't noticed her standing with me. Or maybe he didn't care. I watched her watching him. Something in her expression cracked open, a pain so raw I almost looked away. "I used to believe he loved me," she said quietly. "Before the money. Before the title. Before the other women. The last part caught me." "Elena." She smiled bitter. "You think I'm the first one he cheated on?" My stomach twisted. "Why stay?" Her laugh was hollow. "Because they only respect you when you stay quiet." There it was. The mirror of my own life. We stood there, not touching, not speaking, while celebration roared behind us. A family toasting to lies. Then the sound shifted. Voices rising. A tremor in the atmosphere. I turned. Clara stood frozen by the entrance. A woman stood beside her, tall, elegant, unfamiliar. But her voice carried like lightning. "I didn't come to cause trouble," the woman said, her voice trembling. "But Damon, you told me to come. You said I'd meet your family." The room sank into silence. Damon's glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the marble floor. "Madison," he whispered. "What are you?" "You said it was time to stop hiding," she continued, eyes wide, heart clearly breaking. "You said this party was perfect." Someone gasped. Clara's father stepped forward. "Who is this?" I'm his fiancé, Madison choked. He said his wife didn't matter anymore. All at once, the room exploded. Voices shouting. Clara's mother clutching pearls like clichés. Damon stuttering, hands raised, sweat painting his temples. Elena? Still as stone, mouth set, eyes calm. I knew, she said softly, only to me. How long? 6 months. Different women. I kept receipts. She looked at me, unblinking. Are you ready to do something awful? I didn't hesitate. Yes. She handed me her phone. I took it and with a swipe, opened hell. Photos. Messages. Hotel check-ins. Receipt. Screenshot. Date. Names. Proof. Elena had been watching. Waiting. Planning. He tried to ruin me, she said. Told his family I was manipulative. That I drank too much. That I couldn't give him children. Jesus. I never wanted revenge, she said. But now I want justice. I walked straight into the storm with that phone in my hand. Everyone, I said, raising my voice. If we're having truth night, I have something to add. They turned. I tossed the phone onto the bar. Screen up. Silence. Then someone reached for it. Someone else gasped. A message played out loud, Damon's voice, sultry, careless. I told you, she doesn't even touch me anymore. This marriage is just for optics. You're the one I want, baby. Gasps turned into growls. The room fractured. Clara's mother collapsed into a chair. Clara looked at me like I'd grown horns. How did you? I didn't cheat, Clara, I said evenly. But your brother did. A lot. She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Elena stepped forward. Not rushed. Not dramatic. She picked up her phone and faced the room. My husband has lied. Repeatedly. To me. To all of you. I kept quiet because that's what women are told to do in this family. Not anymore. She stared at Damon like he was a dead thing. I'll be sending the divorce papers tomorrow. Damon tried to speak. No one listened. His promotion meant nothing now. His mask had fallen. I took Clara's hand gently. I'm leaving. She didn't follow. I didn't expect her to. I walked outside into the cold, alone, but freer than I'd felt in years. Elena joined me 5 minutes later. I hope it was worth it, she said. It was. We didn't kiss. Not that night. But I held her hand as we walked into the dark together. And for once, I didn't feel like a disgrace. I felt like the man who burned the right bridges. Mornings after revolutions aren't quiet. They breathe like wounded beasts, dragging their bruises behind them. The sunlight doesn't feel clean, it feels intrusive. Every creak in the floorboard is a reminder that something, somewhere, has changed forever. I woke up on a couch that wasn't mine. Leather. Cold. Modern art above the fireplace screamed wealth with zero warmth. Elena's apartment. We didn't sleep together. Not yet. We just sat in silence after the party, pouring whiskey with shaking hands and eyes too tired to cry. She made coffee at 3 a.m. I passed out around 5. Now the clock blinked 9:17. I sat up slowly, my back punishing me for the unforgiving surface. My shirt was wrinkled, collar undone. I smelled like scandal, smoke, and something electric that refused to fade. Elena emerged from the hallway, barefoot, wearing an oversized t-shirt that belonged to no man anymore. Didn't mean to sleep, I said, rubbing my face. I did, she replied, voice hoarse, eyes puffy but focused. It was the first time I didn't dream about choking him. I gave her a half-smile. Sounds restful. Ironic, really. She sat across from me, legs crossed. There was something different in her posture today. She wasn't wearing the mask anymore. The perfect wife, the golden trophy, the quiet supporter. She looked like herself, finally. I filed already, she said. Lawyer's name is Denise. Cold, sharp, brilliant. She laughed when I showed her the evidence. Clara called me last night. Elena raised an eyebrow. Left a voicemail. Said I was cruel. That I humiliated the family. I snorted. She said I owed Damon an apology. Elena blinked. Did she forget the part where he had a fiancé? I guess that doesn't count if she wasn't from the club. She chuckled bitterly. How are you feeling? I didn't answer right away. I looked around her place. Sleek, minimal, curated. A glass table sat untouched in the corner, a sculpture beside it twisted into an abstract scream. Free, I said. Guilty. Powerful. Alone. Not alone. Like someone just gave me the keys to my own prison and said, "Here, walk." She nodded. Yeah. That. We sat in the quiet between our words. She reached for my hand. And this time, we didn't pretend it didn't mean anything. Later, I returned to the apartment I shared with Clara. The building greeted me like a lie I hadn't told yet. Too clean. Too sterile. A museum of forgotten joy. Clara was in the kitchen, wine in hand, already dressed for the day in something expensive and colorless. She didn't look surprised to see me. Did you enjoy your little moment? I dropped my keys on the counter. It wasn't little. She tilted her head. You always wanted to play the martyr. Finally got the spotlight. You're defending him? I'm defending stability, she hissed. Damon made a mistake. You torched the family. You embarrassed us in front of clients, partners, everyone. He lied to everyone. So did you, she snapped. You pretended you were one of us. You never were. That one hit harder than I expected. I looked at her. Really looked. The woman I married was gone. Maybe she never existed. Or maybe she dissolved slowly, like sugar in water, sweet at first, then invisible. I'm leaving. She shrugged. I figured. No lawyers. You can keep the apartment. That got her attention. Why? Because I don't want anything that makes me feel like this again. Clara didn't follow me. She didn't cry. She just poured more wine and looked at her reflection in the microwave like it would explain where things went wrong. That night, I didn't sleep at Elena's. I wandered. Bars. Parks. Streets with names I didn't recognize. City lights blurred into streaks through my windshield. I ended up at a motel with flickering neon and wallpaper that hadn't seen sunlight since the 90s. Inside the room, I stared at the ceiling. Tried to picture my future. Tried not to picture Clara. Failed. I heard my phone vibrate. A message from Elena. You okay? I hesitated. Yeah. You. A pause. Then. We did what we had to do. We did what they never expected. Want company? I stared at the screen. Then I typed. Doors open. The knock came 20 minutes later. She stepped inside wearing jeans, no makeup, hair tied back. Real. Raw. Devastating. We didn't speak. She took off her jacket slowly, eyes locked with mine. I stood. Met her in the middle. We kissed again, but this time, it wasn't hunger. It was need. Desperate, sacred, selfish. We didn't undress. We unraveled. Slowly. Her fingers traced the lines of my ribs like she was learning a song. My mouth found the curve of her shoulder, her throat, her collarbone. She tasted like redemption. We made love like people trying to erase memory with skin. Every touch said, I see you. I want you. I don't care if this breaks me. Afterward, we lay tangled, breathless, ruined. Was it worth it? She asked, voice barely audible. I turned my head. Met her eyes. Yes. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of echoes, aftermath, silence, whispers. The party felt like a lifetime ago, something I dreamed during a fever, vivid and impossible. Yet its weight never left me. It followed like a shadow too stubborn to detach. I moved into a small loft above a bakery. The kind of place where the floor creaked and the windows argued with the wind. But it was mine. No oil paintings. No cold marble countertop. Just space. Solitude. Scent of bread in the mornings. Elena came and went. Some nights we tangled beneath thin sheets, holding each other like people adrift in deep water. Other nights we didn't speak at all. Just sat on opposite ends of the couch, lost in thought, sipping tea, letting time say the things we couldn't. Her divorce proceedings moved quickly. Damon didn't fight. Probably couldn't afford to, not after the public fallout. He'd been suspended from his firm pending conduct investigations. His fiancée vanished. His name became a warning, not a legacy. Clara filed too. One of her lawyers emailed me the paperwork. I signed without reading. Her father offered a check to make things disappear. I mailed it back torn in half. I didn't want their silence. I wanted their discomfort. Let them talk. Let them whisper. Let them choke on it. One evening, I got a call from my old college friend, Jackson. We hadn't spoken in over a year. He ran a boutique ad agency downtown. Said he'd seen the mess online. Said people were talking. I heard you blew up a billionaire family during dessert. I served the truth, I replied. He laughed. Got a job for you. Creative director role. New campaign. Bold. Raw. Could use someone who's not afraid to say what's real. I accepted. Because for the first time in years, I felt real again. Elena surprised me at work the next week. She walked into my office in a long coat, hair tousled, eyes tired but bright. She carried 2 coffees and a small paper bag. Thought you could use lunch, she said. We sat in the corner of my office, legs touching under the small table. She handed me a sandwich, then leaned back with her eyes closed. You look alive, she said. I smiled. I am. She nodded. I had a dream last night. Yeah. You and me. In a house with ugly tiles. A dog. A couch with way too many pillows. That sounds terrible. It was perfect. I reached for her hand, slid my thumb across her knuckles. What do you want, Elena? Honestly. She looked at me, really looked. I want a life where I don't have to pretend. Where love isn't a performance. Where I'm not polished for display. And me. You're part of it, she said. Not as an escape. As a beginning. The room fell quiet. But this time, silence wasn't empty. It was full of yes. Later that night, we lay on the couch in my loft. Rain tapped the windows like soft knuckles. Elena's head rested on my chest, one leg tangled between mine. I can't believe it happened, she whispered. Me neither. Sometimes, I wonder, what if they never humiliated you at the party? Would we have happened? I thought for a long moment. No. I would have smiled, swallowed it, driven home in silence. Same as always. Funny, she murmured. Pain makes honest people. No, I corrected. Pain unmasks liars. Truth makes people honest. She lifted her head. Kissed me. Slow. Deep. Certain. No more shame. No more hiding. 1 month later, I received an invitation. Clara's father was retiring. They were hosting a final family gala. Everyone expected to attend, even me. The envelope smelled like expensive wood and tradition. I tossed it in the trash. That evening, I took Elena out instead. We went to a dive bar with live jazz and sticky floors. We drank gin, danced terribly, laughed until our ribs hurt. And somewhere between the second song and the third drink, she leaned in and whispered, "Thank you." For what? For not letting me go. I held her close. No one ever saw me until you, I said. She touched my chest. I saw everything, Ethan. They still call me a disgrace, I'm sure. At family dinners. On golf courses. In wine-soaked whispers between gated walls. Let them. Because 20 minutes after they tried to bury me, I watched their golden sun crash. And I walked away with truth. With love. With her. And when I look in the mirror now, I see a man they'll never understand. And I wouldn't trade that for anything.